What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Robbie Finizio. We've got a lot of recap to do on Week 7, as well as previewing Week 8. I want to talk about MVP candidates midway through the season, as well as Rookie of the Year candidates. Now, this was a crazy week. Week 7 has to be, by far, out of the first 7 weeks of NFL football, this has been by far the most fun to watch. Majority of the games on the board came down to last drives, overtime, field goals. Almost every single game was a nail-biter. And honestly, it starts right off on Thursday night with the Giants and the Eagles in Philadelphia. 22-21, the Eagles take it. Now, first I want to talk about the Giants. Now, to be honest with you, as a Giant fan, this is not a bias. The Giants pretty much won this game. 3 quarters out of 4. 3.5 quarters out of 4, the Giants won this game. And I'll tell you why is because our defense held Philadelphia to 10 points through 3. Bradbury had an interception. The safeties were playing well. Secondary played well. The line held Jones. Jones has a huge run, even though he does end up tumbling. I know I've seen the memes. But nonetheless, the Giants played well in this game. And then, 6 minutes left, the Eagles, they storm. They score 11 points, or I should say 12 points, to win by 22-21. Now, first I want to say that the Giants' running game is already again in jeopardy as Devontae Freeman is taken out with injury. But apparently he is back and practicing, so hopefully he will be good to go on Monday night against the Buccaneers. And also I want to point out that Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard both had their first touchdowns of the year in Week 7. I think that is kind of like the epitome of why are the Giants not using their receivers. Because before that, Darius Slayton was their only target getting in the end zone. And now finally Golden Tate, after God knows how long, I mean, probably since last season, this guy hasn't had a touchdown. He finally showed up, and I'm really happy about that. A lot of people were, thinking putting him on the trade wire, but now it's probably going to be Evan Ingram. And I mean, I can understand the frustration with Evan Ingram because of the drop pass that would have ended the game essentially. But that's, it's hard to blame somebody for one mistake, but I know there's a lot of other things. But also Sterling Shepard with the first touchdown of the year, which is great. And like I said, the defense was good. On the side for the Eagles, Wentz played a better game. He only had one interception. Wentz, out of the past 7 games, only had 1 game without an interception, so no surprise in the interception. But he had 2 touchdowns. He passed for over 373 yards, which is pretty impressive. And it kind of why the Eagles won the game was because of the chunk plays at the end. They were able to make big plays on the last 2 drives, and that's really what secured it for them. And the hot take I want to take on this game Thursday is really that we know how the NFC East is. It's nobody's 500. It's anybody's ball game, and both of these teams are still technically considered playoff contenders, regardless of what their records are. Philadelphia, I think now has 2 wins, and the Giants have just 1. But they're still both in contention to win the division, which is just kind of crazy to think about. But yep, that's what I got from this game. Now, we'll go to Sunday, and we'll start with already another nail-biter. The Detroit Lions and the Falcons. Lions topped them 23-22. To say about the Lions, I want to say that Kenny Golladay is a great receiver. Got to watch a lot of highlights from him, and he's just an unbelievable guy. He makes crazy plays, and he's one of the few, alongside Danny Amendola and Marvin Jones, he is really a talented young receiver that I think is really good for Detroit. But I've heard rumors about trading him, but I'm not sure. Nothing's been confirmed. It's all speculation, but great. He's really talented. And on the side of the Falcons, it's every week gets a little worse. And like we've said, like everyone says, is that they find new ways to lose, and I think that's extremely true because Todd Gurley, listen, I have a bias to Gurley because he's on my fantasy team, and he was able to score me a touchdown, so that was huge. He scored there was 20 points in fantasy for him, so I couldn't say that I complained, but yeah, bad move on Gurley's part. You take the knee and the game is over. And I read that Matt Ryan had pretty much screamed to him in the huddle to not score, because if he scores, they're getting the ball back, which they did, and they won. And that's why, there definitely is blame on Gurley, but I understand the momentum and maybe whatever was going on in his mind. So obviously, those are the kind of situations that it sucks to make that mistake. But Falcons are 1-6. They're a team that really should be closer to 500. To be honest with you, they should not be 1-6. That record does not show what the capability of the Falcons are. They just tend to just sort of give up in games, and they choke, and that's the issue. The hot take from this game, I'm going to say, is that the Lions are actually not that far out of being a wild card team. Coming into the season, they really looked like they were tanking. Stafford looked okay, but the team did not look like they knew what they were doing. They didn't really find an identity, and I think this Falcons game kind of gave them a little bit of a confidence boost going into next week, which is really good. So, next game, Cleveland Browns and the Bengals. Browns beat them by 3. Just a complete shootout, and I think this is becoming what I think is a nice little Ohio rivalry. I mean, we've seen them before, but these teams are both genuinely, I think, offensively capable to have high-scoring games. Baker Mayfield looked great, to be honest with you. He was 22 for 28, and he had 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception. Not bad at all. The bad news for the Browns is they lose Odell for the season. He's obviously, he's been having one of the best seasons he's had since he was on the Giants, to be honest with you. He really didn't do a lot last year. I think this year was he was getting back to old Odell, which is what we love to see. He's one of my favorite athletes to watch, and I don't want to have to see him on the bench. I don't want to have to see him on the sideline, because he's hurt. But it's a shame, and prayers up to Odell. But I really don't think this is going to be too much of a blunder on the Browns' offense because of the sort of weapons they have. They have enough guys, I think, that can step up where I feel like, and then there's going to be a hole, and it's going to be an adjusting point, but I think that the Browns genuinely can adjust to this, and they can do good. They're 5-2 now. They're cruising right now, and they just have to keep playing. And I know people will say they played the Steelers and they showed their true colors, but I think this team is better than what most people expect. And, you really can't be mad when you're 5-2. You really got to take the heat. But I'm excited to see what the Browns can do the rest of the season. On the Bengals side, I will say that Burrow looks great. I think he's definitely one of my top in the running for Rookie of the Year, 100%. He's played a lot. He's played every game. He's played really well. The offensive line was better for him. They protected him a little bit better. They only got him 4 times, which, it's better than 7 or 8, which is good to not see him get banged up. But Bengals look good, to be honest with you. I know they lost, but I think, Tyler Boyd has really stepped up to the plate and, taking over A.J. Green's role, who's been kind of not necessarily non-existent, but he's not been as prominent as people would expect. I think Tyler Boyd has really taken a great step up, as well as Joe Mixon, who's come back in the run game for them, which is huge. And they've been a really high-powering offense in some ways. They just gotten unfortunate against the Colts, who, the defense kind of let up there and then come back. But although they are 1-6, they're really not a bad team. And even really looking into next year, they really are just going to keep getting better from here. Okay, so now we'll go to going into Week 7. I think this is definitely one of the best games to be watching. Was the Steelers-Titans game, and it was kind of a disappointing end, to be honest with you. The Steelers beat them 27-24, and Gostkowski misses the kick at the end that would have tied it up to bring it to overtime. Now, my take on this is really that if Gostkowski makes the kick, they go to overtime. I think the Titans win this game. And, first half of the game, the Steelers played great. They held the Titans. And it was just the second half that the Steelers just kind of stopped playing. Big Ben throws 2 interceptions. They let the Titans come back. And it's just like they kind of, I don't know if they gave up or they just stopped playing. And they gave the Titans that opportunity to get back in the game, which was kind of, I think, which probably would have continued into overtime. And I think, I could picture in my head, Derrick Henry running to the end zone for the game winner. But Gostkowski's a little bit left, and Steelers now are 6-0. And my hot take on this really is that I don't think the Steelers are still the best team in the league. You really can't say that because I just don't think, looking at their schedule, they really are. I mean, I don't think they're a phony. I don't think they're a fake team. I think they're a real. They really are good, and they really are a top 5 team. I just don't think you can say they are the best team. I mean, looking at their schedule going forward, they're going to play the Cowboys, the Washington football team. They're playing the Bengals twice, the Colts and the Browns, which I think for the Steelers team are almost automatic wins. I mean, I would say maybe the Browns. No, the Browns didn't. I mean, if the Browns can step up, I mean, they're playing 2 NFC East teams. I mean, we all know how. I mean, those teams they're not strong, and this is a great team. So I think that Steelers are probably going to go at least 14-2 this year, bearing no obstacles. They could go almost undefeated this year. Yep, that's the Steelers game. Now we'll go on to the Saints and the Panthers. Yet again, another 27-24 game. The Saints take this one. I'll be honest with you and say that the Saints just don't look nearly as good as they did last year. They don't look as strong. I really had the Panthers in this game because I like Teddy Bridgewater. I like what the Panthers have done. Robbie Anderson, they have structured this team well. Despite losing, Cam Newton, McCaffrey's been out for a couple weeks. They've still been able to thrive in the league. But they lose. The Saints are without Michael Thomas yet again. That's an issue that they need to figure out because they want this guy back in the lineup if they want to, be a playoff team. I don't think that this is going to be a playoff team without Michael Thomas. I mean, Alvin Kamara is great, but he can only do so much. And on the Panthers side, they had opportunity towards the end. They had what would have been a game-tying field goal. I mean, it was a 65-yarder. It was just a matter of getting them in better field position for the kick, but they were not able to do that. But my hot take really is that, like I said, that the Saints, I don't think, regardless of, I have them going 10-6 this year. But I really don't think the Saints are going far this year. It would be a real underdog story to say that they were going to go farther than maybe the wild card, to be honest with you. But that is just my opinion. I actually will look at. I did just see this. Where is it? I saw I think NFL posted if the season ended today, playoff prediction, and. NFL. Okay, so in the playoff picture right now, the Saints would not even make the playoffs. The 7th seed in the NFC would be the Rams. 6th seed would be the Cardinals. So, yeah, I think that, if the Saints do end up making it, which they might be able to make it, actually, depending on how their schedule goes. But I really don't think the Saints are going far this year. But I do also like the Panthers. But like I said, they're more of an average team, and this is kind of a game that you kind of wanted them to win, but they were not able to. But like I said, I like the Panthers. We'll go on to the Bills and the Jets now. And this was kind of one of those games where you were going to watch and be like, all right, how ugly is this going to get? And it really was not. It was a Bills win 18-10. The Jets scored finally, first time in 2 games, and the Bills just did not look good. They played underwhelmingly bad, to be honest with you, because going into this game, the Bills and Josh Allen being what was formerly an MVP candidate, and a Bills team that looks to be a top seed in the playoffs this year. I was expecting this to be a quick blowout, but they didn't even score a touchdown. They scored 6 field goals to win with 18 points. But what I'll say about the Bills is that Josh Allen has to step up to back what he was the first 4 weeks of the NFL. I think that if he can get his game back to what it was, he was definitely rattled up when he played the Titans. That kind of was definitely there's a wake up call that they're going to start playing teams that are good. And, they have to step up. And I think, Allen is great and he has a lot of potential. He's working on his game. And I do like Allen. I really like him. And he has to step up now. This is his opportunity. He's got, a great team. I mean, Stephon Diggs is just unbelievable. I mean, just an unbelievable pull from the Vikings. You really can't ask for more in his offense. So, that's going to be a big part of, if they can step it up, this is going to be a great team. On the side of the Jets, it's, it's the same, narrative that, the Jets, they want to tank and they want to get Trevor Lawrence. They want to rebuild this team. But, I will say that it's impressive that they put up 10 points against the Bills. At this point, you got to think that Darnold is done after the season. Adam Gase is probably on his way out, hopefully, for the Jets. Adam Gase is out. There's going to be a lot of revamping in the organization, and you get a guy like Trevor Lawrence, start from scratch. I mean, genuinely speaking, the Jets could be better. Give them 2 years. I would not bet. I could tell you they probably could win 6 or 7 games. Give him 2 years. If Trevor does declare for the draft and they get him, it's a great position that the Jets are going to be in. With all, bearing injuries and whatnot, I think the Jets can be in a great spot if they can do that. The hot take of the game for this one, I say that, Allen can be an MVP candidate if he steps it up. If Josh Allen can elevate his game again, I really think he's a great player. He's not Russell Wilson yet. He's not Aaron Rodgers. But, like I said, he's great. He's a very improved player from what he was last year. So, again, we'll be looking out for Josh Allen. We'll transition to now one of the not nail-biters of this week was the Washington Football and the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East matchup. The Washington Football team wins 25-3, and it's kind of just a telltale that the Cowboys have extremely depleted as a team with the loss of Dak Prescott. It's kind of sad to see. The Cowboys were definitely a team going into the season and going into the first 4 weeks with the hopes of being a wild card 4, 5, 6 seed team and a team that could probably go and easily would have won the division, bearing that Dak Prescott was not hurt. But now Andy Dalton under center, the offense just had a lot of problems, and they had a lot of problems, getting anything done, especially with the Washington Football team. Defense was actually very well put together. I mean, as well, you have to say that the offensive line of the Cowboys is not too pretty. They're not doing a good job protecting the quarterback, and that's a problem. Dalton gets blindsidedly hit while he's sliding out, so Benducci, I believe his name is Benducci, Ben something. I want to make sure I get this name right. Cowboys quarterback. Ben DiNucci, that's my bad. Ben DiNucci comes in, and I mean, this guy is literally literally never played an NFL game. I mean, he obviously looks like a rookie. He looks like he's a little shaky, but that's just the reality that they have a third string quarterback in now for the Cowboys. And listen, if they can figure out that offense, I mean, they got CeeDee Lamb on this team. They got Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott. Great players, great offensive weapons on this team. Some of the best receivers in the NFL. They need to find a way to get these guys the ball. Zeke is not doing it on his own. He's not. I have to say that Ezekiel has not played well himself. I mean, I understand there's a lot of burden to be put on one guy to produce for the whole team, but I think that Zeke has got to, if he wants, he's got to step up. You can't fumble the football. You can't lose yards. You got to try and make whatever you can out of it. It's tough. It's a lot to ask, but it's the same way you could say that like Saquon Barkley with the Giants, when he was healthy, and our offensive line is terrible, but it's like you have to try and find a way to make a hole, make a big chunk play, get yardage, get a score. But that's the thing that Zeke's got to do. He's got to prove that he's he's a beast and he's worth the money that the Cowboys are paying him. But yep, that's the Cowboys and Washington Football team. The hot take on that is really that I think the Washington Football team is actually a lot better than I had really anticipated. I really thought the Eagles pretty much had the division, but I think Washington will definitely be the biggest opposition to that. Kyle Allen is not bad. I think he's doing a decent job. I mean, now that they're not going to, Haskins probably will not be a starter at any point unless Ron Rivera says so. But and Ron Rivera, cancer-free. That's great news as well for the organization and for Ron Rivera. It's really awesome. God bless him. But yeah, Washington football team is definitely going to be a top contender in the NFC East. I don't know how far they'd get, but I think they have a shot for sure in the division. We'll go on to the Packers and the Texans. Now, this is really kind of just the Packers need to just bounce back after a tough loss to the Buccaneers and just kind of, beat the crap out of the Texans. And it is the Texans. So it was expected the Packers were going to win this game. They played great. Aaron Rodgers came back. They had a shaky game last game. There was a lot of things. They were like, you know what? The chip on our shoulder going into the rest of the season. We just got to get back up on the horse, get back to playing like the team that we are, the team that's going to be, a probably number 1, number 2 seed. I think they're definitely one of, right now, the best teams in the league. I wouldn't say they are the best team in the league, but they are one of the they're one of the best teams right now, and I think that Devontae Adams had a great game. The Packers are good, and last year we saw them be 13-3, and they didn't go very far, and a lot of people called them frauds, this, that, whatever. I don't think the Packers are frauds this year. I think they're actually legitimate. I think they're a really high-powered team, and I think they have a lot of potential. On the side of the Texans, Deshaun Watson is great. He's a talented player. Will Fuller is great, but this team just has issues that are just gonna take them. They're just gonna hold them down for the rest of the season. That's the problem. It's like they have guys, but there's a lot of problems. And Raheem Morris is doing what he can, but there's only so much that you can fix at this point. And my hot take on this game is really that. It's not. I think this game doesn't really prove much of anything for the Packers because it was expected that they would win this game. I think really for the Packers, I'm interested to really see them play Actually, I'm looking at their schedule and they really don't have a difficult schedule. And they got the Vikings, the Niners. The Niners is going to be a good game. Jaguars, Colts, Bears, Eagles, Lions. Okay, so they play the Titans at the end of the season. Packers-Titans will be a very interesting game to watch. It's really going to come down to that. Is that that's really where you show your true colors, is when you play the high-powered teams. They're gonna be like a 14-2 team because of the schedule they have. It's another easy schedule that just like the Steelers, it's a schedule that they're going to be able to get a 2 seed in the playoffs, and then they're going to play a hard team, and that's when they're going to see if they're actually a good team. We'll go on to the Buccaneers-Raiders game. This game was one that I thought was going to be closer. The Raiders had beaten the Chiefs. They figured out the formula to beating a great team. And coming into this, the Buccaneers they're lethal, I think. They're definitely one of my favorite teams now going into Week 8. They are a dangerous team. Brady looks good. Gronk is Gronk again. They have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They have Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones on this team. This team, the first 4 weeks, I think they just had issues figuring it out. Like Tom Brady had actually said that, it's kind of like having 4 preseason games before the season starts. So they had to get the kinks out. Bruce Arians had to talk to Brady, figure out the game plan, and honestly, the Buccaneers look like they're rolling right now. They look like they're definitely one of my favorite teams. I think they're gonna make a run in the NFC East. They're honestly right now a Super Bowl favorite for me going into this week. The Raiders, though, I don't think the Raiders are bad either. The Raiders, Darren Waller is a tremendous athlete. Josh Jacobs is great. They have an offense. Their defenses did not play great this game. That was kind of an issue for them. And, I like the Raiders still. They're going to be another top team for me. They're a top 10 team for me, personally. But at the same time, the Buccaneers are great. And they're signing Antonio Brown. That's more news that wanted to keep updated with you guys, is that the Buccaneers are signing. I'm sure, it's been heard, it's in the news. But Antonio Brown has come to the Buccaneers. And what this really means, and I think it means, it could really go really, really great, or it could be really terrible. I mean, we know what Antonio Brown is capable on the field. We also know what he's capable of off the field. He can create a very toxic environment for a team and for their team chemistry, as seen in the Steelers and the Raiders and the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots was a different issue, you could say, but him and Tom Brady I think Tom Brady could mold Antonio Brown back into, a disciplined player who wants to win a championship. If Brady can sit down Antonio Brown and say, listen, you get your stuff together and we can win a championship. We can win a Super Bowl this year. No waiting, no BS. We could win a Super Bowl this year with the team we have. And I believe that this is a really talented team. And if you can throw Antonio Brown in an effective way that doesn't really, that he doesn't interfere with Mike Evans, or, he doesn't take anything from anyone, and he doesn't get into feuds. If they throw him in the right way, I mean, this team is really going to be incredible, and it's going to be really exciting to see. The hot take of this game is that don't count the Raiders out. I like the Raiders. Gruden is a great coach. He's one of my favorite coaches, and I'm loving the Raiders. I've always liked Derek Carr. I like what they're doing. They just got to, pick it up for Week 8. And keep it going. The Raiders are going to be another team that's going to be good in the playoffs as well. Transitioning into the Chiefs-Broncos game, just not much to say about this game other than, Chiefs played good through the cold weather. The Broncos, and Drew Lock I don't think is bad. He didn't play great. He didn't play good enough that, they could even have a chance. But the Broncos team is not great. They're not bad. They're not terrible, but Melvin Gordon is good. They have Phillip Lindsay, so they're trying to compete within their division, within their competitors. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they signed Le'Veon Bell recently as well. I mean, he didn't really get much time in this game. Obviously, it was pretty short notice for me on the team, but the Chiefs are nasty again. They're a threat. They're going to be a threat just as much as they were last year. Just as much as they were last year, just as much as they were in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. I think, I don't like to see the same team in the Super Bowl twice unless it's my Giants. But the Chiefs are going to be – it's going to be really, really interesting to see what the Chiefs do this year. The Raiders took them down, but at the same time, they're the Chiefs. Pat Mahomes is doing just as good as he did last year, I think. No, that's not true. I don't think Pat Mahomes is on maybe the same level as he is last year, but it's also early in the season. I think they got that rookie, Halar. The running back is doing great. Kelsey's, he's doing Kelsey work. And Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. And I think the Chiefs are good. The hot take is, I'm going to say that the Chiefs are probably, they look like Super Bowl favorites right now in the AFC. They look like at least AFC championship favorites at the moment. Going on to the 49ers Patriots. This was a disappointing game for me because I like the Patriots this season. I like Cam. I love that they picked him up and they're giving him this shot. But I just do not love the way they are playing because they did not play. They played horrendous this game. The Niners beat them 33-6. Cam had about, I think, 2 or 3 interceptions. Just didn't look like himself at all. And I know he's just coming off COVID-19, so there obviously could be some effects of that. I'm not sure there's any evidence in that, but I could totally figure that there would be some kind of athletic ability effects to COVID-19. But the Patriots, first time in a long, long, long time that they just do not look excellent. So that's an issue. But on the other side of it, and the more uplifting news of this is the Niners have turned around what was a very tough Super Bowl hangover to get over, bearing all the injury they had. It was a real tough start to the season, but the Niners are back. They beat the Rams on primetime football. You know what? They're a sleeper team. They're looking up there, getting up there in my top 20, top 15 now. I like the Niners again. Garoppolo looks better than he did last year. They look like they are ready for the playoffs, and to be honest, the hot take is that the Niners will make a playoff run this year. And we will go on to the Chargers-Jaguars. Two teams that have kind of struggled, but I think it's more positive to look at the Chargers. They win 39-29, and you just look at Justin Herbert, and you're like, you know what? I actually really like Herbert as a Rookie of the year. He's one of my top right now for rookie of the year because he's just playing really good, regardless of how the Chargers have done this year. I mean, they've been every one of their games has been close, or majority of their games have been close, and it's thanks to Herbert just slinging touchdowns and playing like he's not playing like a rookie, which is great. He's not playing like a rookie. He's not. I've been noticing the way when I watch him, I think he doesn't make as many of the mistakes that you would think he would make. I mean, it was the first couple of games he probably made a couple, obvious, wouldn't get out of the pocket, throw it when he shouldn't have. But I mean, he looks really, really good this year. He looks just as good as Burrow. I personally think that he looks just as good as Burrow, and I think that's my really hot take is that Herbert's a rookie of the year candidate. And for the Jaguars, Gardner Minshew actually just recently some news that he has a fractured thumb, so I do not know how long that will take him out of the game, but that's definitely not good news for the Jaguars, and Jaguars are not looking too good. They're pretty low on my power rankings coming to this week, but yep. Going on to what I think was the best game. Actually, you know what? No, I'll do the Monday night game, then I'll do the Cardinals Seahawks game because that was my favorite game. I'll do the Monday night. It was the Rams against the Bears. Rams beat them 24-10, and going into this game, the Bears kind of had to prove their 5-2 record, or I should say their 5-1 record, and they were not able to prove that tonight. They looked pretty ugly. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Bears did not look good. The Rams looked really good. They're a team that's the Rams are a team that I think they will be they're going to be a more of a middle of the pack team. I think they're good, and I think their defense is very decent. I mean, they're not spectacular. Goff has played decent. I think Goff has been a lot better this year than he was last year. But I definitely like the Rams. I don't know how much I like them, but I like them. But I also kind of I don't think you can count the Bears out. That's they've got issues. Foles didn't play great, but they still have so many good guys. Like Allen Robinson's a really talented guy, and I think that they got to pick their heads up and be like, you know what, we're still 5-2. We wake up, we're still 5-2. We're still a contender. We're still gonna probably be in the playoffs if we continue to win games. So you really can't be mad if you're the Bears. The hot take for this is really that don't sleep on the Bears. I still like the Bears, and I think that they're gonna be, they could make a run this year, depending on if they show up. I think that the Bears are a good team when they are, when they utilize everything they have. And now we'll end it. The recap with what I think was the game of the week. The Cardinals and the Seahawks. Cardinals win this one 37-34 in overtime with a game-winning field goal. And I will start talking about the Cardinals first. So this is really a season changer for the Cardinals. This is really a game that proves that they are legit. At week 4, I said they were like a dark horse. They were a team that, don't sleep on them because they got DeAndre Hopkins. They got Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's good. He just hasn't. He hasn't like last season. He didn't have this. He had a decent season, but he played great. He played great football. He played unbelievable. He had a couple bad throws. We're gonna ignore those because he played really good. But at the same time, the Cardinals made 2 what I think were really big errors that would have cost them the game had the Seahawks not also made errors. Now, the first error was obviously, if anyone watching the game noticed that it was overtime, the game was tied, it was second down, and the Cardinals elected to take the field goal on second down. They didn't wait to the third or fourth down. They decided to say, you know what, let's just end the game on second down with the field goal. But I'm thinking to myself, why don't they just try and go for more yards? Get a couple more yards. Worst case, they lose a yard or 2. But you get more yards, you get a little closer, you get a better shot, and maybe you get a first down. But instead, they go for the field goal, and it is left. They miss it. I mean, they iced their own kicker, by the way. To mention that is that they actually, they were going for the field goal, and they called the timeout after he kicked the field goal, so they didn't count it. and then he misses. Seahawks get the ball back, and Russell Wilson throws a deadly interception that ends up giving the Cardinals the ball back. They get back into field goal position, and they kick the field goal, and that is the game. The Seahawks are still good. They're still a top 3 team to me. And I'll say that because they're just such a dangerous team. They just, they made a couple errors. And that's just every Seahawk game has just been so close. They keep everything close because their defense is just is kind of their defense is kind of atrocious. But they've been able to get away with it. That's the difference between a team like the Seahawks and what the Cowboys were. Was that the Cowboys, they had terrible defense just like the Seahawks, but their offense came up clutch 1 or 2 times. But like now they have no Prescott, they don't have a team. They don't have an offense. They don't have nothing going for them. So that team is not worth anything. But the Seahawks, they have what could be the MVP of the season, as well as another unbelievable. DK Metcalf is literally one of the most unbelievably just amazing athletes we're seeing this season. Just unbelievable. And Tyler Lockett had just an immaculate game. I mean, in terms of fantasy, this guy scored like 52 points. I was the highest I've seen in a long time. Lockett had just a statistically great game. Metcalf, honestly, actually was kind of non-existent in this game until the end when he was about to score the game-winning touchdown, but it was called back on a holding penalty on one of the receivers. But like I said, the hot take that I'll take out of this game is that this does elevate the Cardinals in my power rankings, and it elevates them in their chances of being a really good team this year. I like their chances of being, making a run in the playoffs this year. They really are a good team. They showed it when they played the Cowboys. They have a good defense. They're not just some offensive heavy team. They actually have a defense that's going to try and hold teams. And they have that high-powered offense. DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, you can really build yourself around that guy. And he has done a spectacular job this year. So kudos to the Cardinals. Okay, that's our recap. And now we'll do a quick rundown on this week's game, a little preview. I'm just going to give you my picks real quick for you guys. The first game is tonight's game between the Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. This is going to... I like the Panthers for sure in this one. Teddy B is going to hold it down for the team. I think, who knows what's going to happen, because you never know with the Falcons. They're pretty unpredictable. They could take a big lead and then the Panthers come back and win it on a field goal or something like that. I almost would bet on that might happen. But yeah, I'm thinking Carolina and Thursday night's matchup. Going to Sunday, the 1 o'clock games, we got New England at Buffalo. I think Buffalo's got this one in the bag. I mean, but that's really depending on how if Josh Allen can show up. And if this team shows up and they play like they played the first couple weeks, I think Buffalo's got this one. New England's got their problems. And I like the Bills in this one. We got Tennessee at Cincinnati. This is the Titans win in my book. I think Burrow might have a couple touchdowns. Hopefully. I mean, the Tennessee defense has not been great, so I think this might be a closer game. It might be a higher scoring game, but I think Tennessee's got this one. Then we got the Raiders at Browns. Las Vegas kind of has to win this game if they want to prove that they're a good team. At the same time, if the Browns can win this game, I mean that's a big deal for them. If Baker shows up and he plays good, if their defense can hold the weapons that the Raiders have, that could be good. But I got the Raiders going over the Browns in this one. And then we got the Colts at Lions. This actually might be a closer game than people expect. Detroit coming off that win on the Falcons actually gives them a lot of confidence, and I think that they're not as bad as we think they are, but at the same time, Colts coming off a bye week, they're well rested, and I think Philip Rivers is gonna have a good game. I got the Colts in this one. It's a Vikings Green Bay. That's a Green Bay win in my book. Minnesota's just had their struggles. They have weapons, but they've just had too many struggles, to be honest. And I think the Packers are just they're the Packers. They're a top 5 team. I got Packers in that one by a lot. I got the Jets Chiefs. I mean that's almost comedic to say, but the Chiefs got this one in the bag. Hopefully for New York, they can score a couple points, and Darnold can have a good game. But I mean, the only thing I can say is that maybe the Chiefs would underestimate this game, and that's why it would be closer than you would think. But I got the Chiefs for sure in this one. We got Rams at the Miami Dolphins. This actually was another game that might be closer than we think. The Dolphins are not bad. Tua will be getting a start this week, which is exciting to see. But at the same time, I have the Rams in this one. They look to be better going into this week. But I think it would be a close game. But I got Rams in this one. Okay, here's a big one. This is one of the big best games of the week is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers at Baltimore Ravens. The Pittsburgh undefeated against a Baltimore team that has been thriving under Jackson. But at the same time, there have been doubters that they are legit this year, and it's going to be proven today or on Sunday, I should say. I have the Steelers in this game, just for the obvious reason that they are undefeated and that they have great defense, and it's going to be hard for Lamar to find anyone with the pressure they're going to have on him. They're going to put a lot of pressure on him. It's going to be hard for him to run, so that's why I think Steelers got this one. Going on to the 4 o'clock games, you got the Los Angeles Chargers at Denver Broncos. So I like Herbert and the Chargers. I'm taking them over the Broncos. I think this is a turn for the Chargers to get a couple wins, maybe get to 500 this year. I think this is going to be the start of that after last week's win as well. It's the Saints Bears, and this is a game that I think are two teams that are kind of weak, to be honest. I think both teams are kind of a little bit weak. They have weak spots in them, and they have a lot that they got to prove if they want to be competitors this year. I'm gonna pick the Saints in this game, and I said before they have issues. They don't have Michael Thomas, but I think that this is the game where they might be able to step it up and get a high-scoring game. I think they might actually blow the Bears out in this game. To be quite frank with you, I have the Saints in this one. We'll go on to another 4 o'clock game. It's the Niners at Seahawks. Okay, this is going to be another really good game, I think. Garoppolo versus Wilson. It's, I have Seattle in this game, but it's going to be high scoring. We know how Seattle goes. They just attract the high pressure, high scoring games that go to the end. It's going to be a good game. I think Wilson's going to come back and win this one for his Seahawks. And yep, I got Seahawks in this one. Then we got NFC East matchup at 8 o'clock on Sunday night. We got the Cowboys and the Eagles. This game is going to be ugly. There's no other way to put it. It's going to be a classic NFC East game. It's going to be, a low scoring, 18-10, 17-7. That's what it's going to be. I got the Eagles in this one for sure. But at the same time, it's going to be close. I think it might be close, but depending on how what's his name? Ben DiNucci plays with the Cowboys, they can figure that out. That could be good for the Cowboys, but I got the Eagles in this one. And then transitioning on to Monday night, it's the Buccaneers at my Giants at 8:15. So yeah, I definitely have the Buccaneers winning this game. I really don't think. What I think is this actually. The Giants' defense is underestimated how actually well they perform. When they're at their best, they're very good. They're like a 13th rank overall, I think, in the league, something like that. But if they can hold, because Tampa Bay has so many receivers, and there's only so many safeties that are capable on our team. But Jabril Peppers, Bradbury, Jordan Love has been okay. It's gonna be hard to stay. It's gonna be hard to keep up with a lot of these guys on the team. That's gonna be what I think is the biggest issue. Is they're gonna have to try and figure out a way to stay in this game. If the Giants can actually stay in this game and they can score, if they can actually score and like put points up like they did honestly against the Eagles and like they did against the Cowboys, I think that this is gonna be a sweat for the Buccaneers to win. Not biased that I'm a Giants fan. I genuinely think this is going to be a sweat for the Buccaneers just because of like the underwhelmingness of playing the Giants. You think you win that game. But at the same time, I think the Buccaneers will win this game. And then, okay, yep, that's all of the Week 8 preview. And I'm just going to give you guys my top 5 right now teams in the NFL. Not in any particular order, but yeah, not in any particular order. I got Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Steelers, Titans, and the Buccaneers. Those are my top 5. And my bottom 5 are the Jets, the Falcons, Giants, Cowboys, and the Jaguars. 5 teams that will probably compete for the first-round draft pick. And the MVP watch, right now I'm looking at Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and Mahomes. Murray is one of the newer guys I threw in this list because I actually think that after this game, after the Seahawks game, he has proved he is worthy of being looked at as a serious candidate for the MVP. But I'm going to be looking out for him. I know they have a bye week this week, but next week we're going to see what he can do. Rookie of the year, like I said, top candidates are Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Hilar from the Chiefs. Herbert, like I said, he's one of my favorites. Burrow, again, another guy is really good, and Hilar has really showed up for the Chiefs. So I'll be looking out for those this week and next week. But yep, that is my Week 7 recap and Week 8 preview. Thank you again for listening. I will be obviously back next week with all my picks, recaps, and whatnot. And thank you again. Alrighty, I'm signing off. Thanks for listening.